Hi guys, my name is Joshua Agusiobo from Hikers Trail, and I'm so excited to be part of Engage Africa Foundation Festival 2022. In this very brief video, we're going to walk you through the process of how we set up Hikers Trail, the importance of public space, and also the importance of recreational activities and how they can affect our social and health being in general. Now, in Hikers Trail, so I came to Enugu in 2013. As a young student, I was very much fascinated by the terrain, the topography, the landscape I met in Enugu. And it inspired a long-term vision in me. I've always wanted to wander. I've always wanted to explore these communities, visit these hills. And what did I do? I started looking for people that had like minds, people that wanted to do something like that. And thanks to social media, I made a group on Instagram called 042 Instameet. And I spoke to them and eventually became my friends because we attended the same church. So from there, we met and we had our first ever hike. We called it, then it was 042 Instameet. So I hiked with them. It was beautiful. It was like the best thing that I've ever done. I'll try and know if I will share the pictures with you guys back then. And I wanted to do this more. It wasn't just about the hike. It was about the feeling when you get up the hill, the feeling of being lost in a situation, in a location, and trying to get to the peak of the hill, the feeling of looking down to the entire community, the entire city from the top of the hill. All these things built up a lot of imagination in my mind. So I decided, no, I don't want to do this once. I want to do this consistently. So I spoke to the guys and okay, let's fix up another one. So we fixed up another one. We did the third one, and the person pioneering the project had to leave Enugu because I had another job somewhere else. And I told him, this thing can't die. We need to pour it up. So he said, Joshua, if you have the ability, if you have the encouragement, if you want to do this, let's do it. So what did I do? I started calling on my friends. I'm telling them, go guys now, let's hike, go out on outdoors, let's do something, let's do an alternative activity. Knowing that Enugu is a location where the basic things that young people do is either they do a sporting activity around a popular location we know here that is called Okpara Square, or they hang out, go for clubs, go for just the basic things. I didn't want that. I wanted something else, something extra, and in a way that it's also engaging and it's also very, very streamlined to what we do and what we love doing, which is explore. So I started calling my friends. I started telling them. A lot of them would tell me, I can't come out. I have engagement, I have this, I have that. So I started trying to build a community around it. Most of them were my classmates, most of them were my friends, and we started doing it gradually, started exploring, sometimes once in a month, sometimes twice in a month. And from there, I started seeing that, okay, there's a lot of possibilities in this, and we can actually explore other locations. And we started doing it more. And one of the issues that came up, or basic challenges that we faced at first, is that people found it that we were crazy. Like, how would a normal human being wake up in the morning, dress up in a very fine attire, very sporty, have their bags filled up with things, foodstuff and things that they need, and just climb a hill? Doesn't make any sense down here. Anyway, then I'm talking about 2014, 2015. It doesn't make any sense. But people were doing it in locations like Abuja, but down here, nobody was thinking about that. So at first, people were like, you guys are crazy, but we started doing it and telling them that, okay, it's not just about climbing. It's about the experience. It's about the pleasure. It's about the adrenaline rush you get up there. It's about the fact that when you are in there doing your thing, nothing else matters. It's like you leave the world behind and their exploration instincts just kick in and you just want to do something else. So we had to do that. And gradually what we didn't know, but we later realized that we were creating a subtle culture. We were trying to build up another type of entertainment, another type of pleasure for our young people in this town. And gradually we started having the numbers. We started growing to 30s, to 50s, knowing that when we started, sometimes I do hike alone. Sometimes after doing the publicity, I'm doing all the noise, you just end up being the only person there. But with consistency, we're able to build through, and we started trying to go to other locations outside Enugu town, and that made calls for transportation, somebody going there to scout the location, talking with the locals, because a lot of these locals, they didn't know what we were doing. Like, who are this bunch of guys coming to our town to climb our hill to do that? But it took a lot of negotiation with them for them to understand that we are not trying to fight you guys. We're trying to come and enjoy the beauty that nature has bestowed upon your community in a way that we appreciate these things. So we started those things, and gradually we were building, gradually we were trying to do something new. And in the process of doing that, we discovered that it's not just about visiting the locations, it's also about the tourism ecosystem around that. And that's why we always say we use entertainment and fun to drive tourism. You did it in a way that people now started seeing the potentials in this. People started seeing the fun. We don't just visit locations for visiting the sake. We also, engage with the local communities, talk to the traditional rulers, tell us stories about the communities in a way that young people now started caring more about their communities, trying to know more about these villages. And it blew up. It became exciting. People started posting it on Instagram, talking about it on social media, and that was how we entered the market. And we've been doing very well since then. We've toured virtually all the states in the Southeast and the South. We've expanded to different locations. We've done over 500 tours within the communities, and it's been a blessing from the day one, and we've been enjoying the process right till now. So on how access to public space can affect public health and well-being, I would like to talk about a very popular location in Enugu State that is called Obara Square. So Obara Square is the center of Enugu town, surrounded by the State House of Assembly and the Government House. And on Saturdays, it's been bred into, like, every person in Enugu knows that this is the location where we come for sporting activities. Now, and we have roughly close to 1,000 persons that jog there every Saturday. It's like a general assembly of everybody living in Enugu. And that is an example of how access to public space can affect health and well-being, because it has now bred into the average middle-class Enugu person the opportunity to come exercise, even if you can't afford the gym, come here, exercise, do things, have activities. There's even a small ecosystem of people buying, selling, doing all sorts of things. It has created a little community of sports-loving people around that. So that's an example of how access to public space can actually do a whole lot for a community. And we would want something like this to be in other locations, because when you have clusters of this public space around various estates, various communities, it makes people look up to that place to come socialize, come meet people, come and, get a lot of things off their chest, come and think with people, if I have to use that word. And also, very importantly, coming from a pre-COVID stage where we were all locked down for close to 2 years, nothing was moving. A lot of people, needed to get a lot of things off their chest. People need to unbond. People need to relearn how to communicate, relearn how to engage, relearn how to socialize, relearn how to meet people, meet deadlines, and a whole lot of all these things are happening around. So it is very, very important that public spaces like this should be encouraged, should be talked about, should be at the focal front of any sort of establishment, any sort of community, because people need locations like this for them to come together and be who they want to be and meet who they want to meet and also interact. Another case that I would like to point out is somewhere like Unity Park in Enugu, very close to the Obara Square that I talked about. So locations like these are very key into building a social structure, into making a society a holistic one. And it affects the well-being of the people, because people now have places they can go. People now have things they can do, some sort of alternative activities like I talked about before. Alternative activities are very good because they make you feel relaxed. They make you not be in the work mode. And in the recreational environment, it is very, very key that people don't get so absorbed, especially when people are working from home. A lot of things are happening in the confines of the small spaces that we've already put ourselves into. We need to let all this go. We need to let it all out, and we need to meet more people and have a small community where we can socialize in a creative way. And that's how public space can actually affect the social and the general health, well-being of the people and the community. So for recreational activities that can promote well-being, I would like to, and social connections, I would like to talk about my hiking, for instance. So in over the years, in my tourism endeavors and also hiking, touring different communities and doing all sorts of recreational activities, I've understood that what we were building subconsciously wasn't just about hiking. It was building a community of young people that socialize, that have a recreational activity that they enjoy, and they find and derive a lot of fun in doing things like that. So it was a very subtle interpretation, and we didn't really get it at first. But over time, we now understood that is the reason why people come. People don't just come because they want to hike. Yes, it's part of it. People don't just want to come because they want to climb the hills, visit the communities. Yes, that is part of it. But they come because they want to meet new people. They want to communicate. And they want to, do it in a way that they are doing in a healthy way. They're exercising, you're losing a lot of steam, a lot of heat, a lot of things, and you are also having fun. You are meeting new people for the first time. You're talking to your neighbor. You're making a lot of friends. And it might be unrelated, but we've had a lot of very wonderful business and even with other relationships that I've found out just from the little thing we've been doing. We've had a lot of marriages happen by hiking. People met and then they decided to get married, and things like that often happen. Bringing it down, it's very, very key, especially for young people. I was telling a young person something some days ago that young people are 5 minutes away from making a wrong decision. If you don't use that 5 minutes to do something right, it always might fall overboard. So it is very, very important that we start engaging young people to start doing things that they love, because we have a lot of energy, to start doing things that will bring up that energy in a creative way, in a way that we love, that makes us still healthy, and that makes us socialize with one another. It is very key for young people. I'm passionate about this because we have so much energy, but sometimes it's deployed in a not too good way, and it can always go overboard. Now, when you have young people doing things like hiking, things like cycling, sporty activities that also interact and help you interact in a very social way. It makes you build your social skills as also a recreational activity. So like, yoga, visiting the gym. I'm very more particular about cycling and hiking because that's the community I'm building in Enugu. And it's been productive. I've seen it work. When young people, do things like that, they're more creative. I've had cases where young people feeling depressed, there was this time there was a wave of depression all over town, and people started talking about the fact that they can't hike anymore because of the lockdown. So we had to, bring the barriers, try to bring them outdoors, and they were able to socialize in a very professional way. I hope this video has not just, been all talks, but also inspired you one way or the other for you to take up an action, to do something for your community, to do something, start up that project, start exercising, value your outdoor space, value environment, because these things are so precious. Value trees, value your community. Every opportunity for you to socialize should be encouraged, should be done in a very healthy way. And I hope you've, gotten a whole lot of things, from this my little presentation. And I will still be available if you want us to discuss some of these things further. And it was a pleasure being part of this festival 2022. And I'm looking forward to more interactive conversations that will not just transform us as individuals, but Africa as a continent. Thank you.